Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as we talk about the temperatures of the next 10 days, we will see a transition from a very warm pattern across the eastern half of the country to a slightly warmer than average pattern across the eastern half of the country. So we will cool off, but not heading toward a big cool down or a big winter chill by any stretch of the imagination, just a little bit closer to where we should be this time of year. We are going to watch for an active next 5 to 7 days with a big storm system making its way across parts of the central plains, the upper Midwest, eventually into the northeast region early next week. We'll talk about that here in just a moment within this video. Now, as we look at things right now, we do have a disturbance making its way across parts of the northern areas of the northeast here, bringing a wintry mix. We've got winter weather advisories in effect across parts of the northeast region. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is the big storm system lingering or looming off to the southwest, beginning to get its act together. We can see that here when we look at the radar picture across the continental U.S. Once again, here is the wintry mix of precipitation making its way across the northeast region. And then off to the southwest, this is the storm system that will be riding across the frontal boundary through the Midwest and then eventually into the northeast as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. Now, we've seen a front begin to make its way through parts of the central plains into the Midwest. And it's this frontal boundary that's kind of stall out and allow that area of low pressure to begin riding along it, warming things back up, warm air advection being lifted. So temperatures will once again warm across this region of the Corn Belt, and then temperatures continuing to warm as that storm system lifts off to the northeast. We'll talk about the precipitation impacts in a moment. Here's a look, though, watching that frontal boundary stall out and begin lifting back to the north across the northeast. It starts to lift back north as we get into Sunday and Monday. Talking about the precipitation impacts from this, first, we'll look at the high-resolution NAM model. This will take us through the weekend, and we can watch this first disturbance bringing a wintry mix of precipitation to parts of the northeast region here, getting out of the area by the time we get to the end of the day on Friday. So we'll be quiet across the northeast region through much of the weekend. Getting into Saturday morning now, midday Saturday, blizzard conditions, winter storm warning, or winter storm conditions across the northern plains into the upper Midwest, with rain and perhaps some thunderstorms extending off to the south across parts of the Midwest and the eastern Corn Belt. Stopping this model run here, we'll take the drawings off at noon on Sunday. This is as far as the high-resolution NAM goes right now, and we're starting to see the first drops of rain begin to move into parts of western Pennsylvania and New York as we get into noon Sunday. So dry for much of the weekend here as we talk about Saturday and Sunday across the northeast region, but late in the day Sunday, from west to east, that precipitation starts to move in. Now we can take a better look at that storm system here with the long-range model here, the European model. And this will again show the first storm system making its way out through the day on Friday, scooting through the northeast region. Quiet for a big chunk of the day on Saturday into Sunday. We're now into midday Sunday, Sunday evening, midnight on Sunday night into Monday. And now sunrise on Monday, starting to see that wintry precipitation across the north, snow falling across parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, with a wintry mix across parts of New York, getting into Massachusetts. That wintry mix could continue here with rain, freezing rain, and snow across, again, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, into Maine, with another area of low pressure developing here, bringing the precipitation to an end as we finally get into late in the day Wednesday, perhaps all the way into the day on Thursday. So the impacts here across the northeast region, again, going to be the most severe from this storm system as we talk about parts of the last half of the day Sunday into Monday and Tuesday across the northeast region, looking like treacherous conditions. Total snow, we'll look first at the wind forecast here. We'll see blustery conditions accompanying this storm system, the windiest of which across the northeast region will be in coastal areas of parts of the northeast here as we head through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with those winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour at times. Total snow accumulation through Thursday at midnight, looking at the highest accumulations across New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. That's where we could see anywhere from 6 to 20 inches of snow in some of the higher concentrated areas here. As we talk about parts of New York State, looking at anywhere from a trace to maybe 5 or 6 inches of snow. Lake effect snow could add to some of that here across parts of western New York as well. As we talk about the potential for some freezing rain, this is, of course, with the first storm system here Friday, looking at the probability of at least 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain, highest across parts of northern New York, getting into New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Winter weather advisories in effect across New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine as we get the day started here on Friday. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, and winter storm watches across the northern plains as we talk about the storm system making its way through the weekend in that region. Total liquid precipitation through Tuesday So this includes much of that storm system moving through the northeast region, looking at an expansive area here from the south into the central and northern plains all the way to the east coast here, where we're talking about anywhere from a half an inch to an inch and a half of precipitation here in liquid form. If we were to melt all that down, perhaps even some higher amounts here, getting close to 2 to 2.5 inches of liquid precipitation, some of that, or much of that, falling in the form of snow in that region off to the north. Now, we talked about temperatures. I'm just going to play this loop out. I mentioned we do have a cool down coming, but as we head into mid to late next week, likely returning to a pattern that features warmer than average temperatures from anywhere from the northern plains into the central parts of the Corn Belt, into the southeast and the northeast region. Your high temperatures for the day on Friday, near freezing across the north. That's where we'll deal with a wintry mix, all the way down to the mid-50s in the south. A bit cooler for some on Saturday, but those temperatures start to warm as we head into Sunday and Monday as that storm system moves into the region. The cool spot going to continue to be to the north, where we've got winter precipitation falling. Those temperatures below freezing across northern New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Very warm, though, as you head off to the south. Pennsylvania, getting into Maryland, still seeing temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 50s during the day on Monday. But that cold front finally swings through on Tuesday, cooling things off. Temperatures back to where they should be this time of year for many across the northeast region. But of course, as we head into mid to late next week, we'll likely continue to warm back up, with a warmer than average pattern being featured. Your overnight lows as we wake up tomorrow morning, below freezing across a big chunk of the northeast region, will be above freezing as you head into parts of southern Pennsylvania into Maryland. Overnight lows on Sunday. Here is Monday. And then waking up on Tuesday behind that cold front, temperatures likely getting back to below freezing for many across the northeast region. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video. We'll then be on a holiday schedule for the New Year holiday Tuesday and Wednesday, resuming a normal scheduling Thursday and Friday, heading into the rest of the month of January.